Welcome back to part 2 of our series. At this part, we're going to start breaking down our 2 remaining blocks of IP addresses. So in this block, we're doing a /27. This means that we're borrowing 3 bits, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros and an 8-bit number. So we're doing 2 to the third, which equals 8 blocks, and the number of zeros tells us the number of PCs, so that would be 2 to the 5th, and that will be 32 IP addresses. And since we have these ranges, we're going to break down the IP addresses. First, let's calculate the subnet mask. And that would be 255.255.255. And the last number is 256 minus 32. So let's do that real quick. So over here we have 256 minus 32. That gives us 224 for our subnet mask. 224. And so here we are, we're going to break down the IP addresses into blocks of 32. So the first will be 192.168.1.0, and that will go to 192.168.1.31. and that will be our first block of 32 IP addresses. The second block would start at 192.168.1.32, and that will go to 192.168.1.63. There we go, and that would be another block of 32 IP addresses. The third would go 192.168.1.64, and that will go to 192.168.1. And you add 63. You add 32 to that, so that would be 96. 1.96. And that would be another block of 32 IP addresses. And then finally, you have 64 plus 31 is 95. 64 plus 31 will give you 95 here, sorry. 95. So this one starts at 1.96, and that's going to go to 192.168.1, 2.168.1.127, and that will be your final block of 32 IP addresses. Perfect. So these are our 32 our blocks of IP addresses that we will be using. So again, we can now see that we need 20 here, we need 30 here, we need 30 over here. So we will assign our IP address blocks according to this chart. So the first 3 we will use for these networks. So let's make a list and assign it here. So we're going to call this LAN 1, and LAN 1 will have the network 192.168.1.0, and that would be a /27 network, and this will have a subnet mask of 255.255.255.224. Okay, and that will be a total of 32 IP addresses. Okay, That looks good to me. So that's LAN 1. Now that we're on LAN 1, we could also then, since we're getting these 32 blocks of IP, we could actually just assign this address for this route as 192.168.1.1, and that will be the address for this particular side of the router. Okay, we're going to take this second block of IP address and assign it to this network, which is, we'll call this network LAN 2, and that network would be 192.168.1.32, and the first IP address in the series will be the name of the network, and it will be a /27 network, and it will also have 32 IP addresses. Its subnet mask will be 255.255.255.224 as well. And since we're here in this network, we might as well assign the default gateway, and that would be 192.168.1.33, because 33 is the next IP address in this range of 32. Alright, so that is the IP address for this particular side of the router. And finally, as we keep going, we're going to go to the final network, and this one has we call this LAN 3, and we're going to assign it this network, which is the 192.168.1.64 network, which is also a /27 network, providing us with 32 IP addresses, and its subnet mask is 255.255.255.224. Perfect. All right. So far so good. So the only IP address we have left is this block of 32 IP addresses. So again, let's go over here and make this a /28, and the IP address that we have left is 192.168.1.96. That's the name of the network, and it currently has about 32 IP addresses. This is remaining. Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to borrow 1 bit, and that will make it, now we're borrowing 1, 2, 3, 4 bits, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros remaining. And the reason we're doing that is because we still need IP address for this network and for this network over here. So usually we only need a block of 4 IP addresses. So we're going to take this /32 and we're going to make it into 16s, and then into 8s, and then into 4s. So we could have blocks of 4's IP addresses. So here we go. So this is let's continue the same format we were doing. So 2 to the 2 with a number of 1s will tell you how many blocks of IP addresses we have. So it's 2 to the 4, and what that works out to is 16, and 2 to the 4, because the number of zeros is still 4, and that works out to 16 usable IP addresses. So all our ranges now will range for 16. So we're going to break this down, this usable IP up here, into 2 blocks of 16. So it will go from 192.168.1.96 all the way up to 192.168.1. And that would be 96 plus 15, right? So that will end up being 96 plus 15. So 111. So this will go all the way up to 111, 192.168.1.111. Okay, and that will be a block of 16 IP addresses. The second block of 16 would be 192.168.1.112, and that will go all the way up to 192.168.1.127, and that will be a block of 16 IP addresses. Okay, this video went a little bit past the 10-minute mark, so in the next video we'll continue to break this down so we can assign our IP addresses to the 2 remaining networks. I'll see you guys in the next video.